So here's how AI generated IKEA's new $1 billion business line. So have you heard about this? No? So IKEA deployed an AI chatbot named Billy, okay, you know Billy, right?
Yeah.
To handle level 1 customer service inquiries. It reportedly resolved around 57% of those engagements without human escalation. Most companies would have celebrated the labor savings and stopped right there. Cost takeout, right? But the more interesting move, Neil, was to study the 43% of cases Billy could not resolve, okay, could not resolve. Those unresolved inquiries pointed to customer demand looking for interior design help because you don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You don't want to do it either,
Yeah.
right? IKEA responded by spinning up a design consultancy, reskilling customer service employees powered by AI, and creating a new revenue stream that generated roughly 1 billion euros in new revenue in its first year. So automation plus augmentation equals exponential growth. Isn't that interesting?
That's awesome.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's like AI finds all the edge use cases of things, right? And then it's like, oh, well, I have all this labor over here. Instead of sacking them, why don't we skill them to do something else and maybe even pay them more?
And I love that because, you mentioned it head on. A lot of companies are thinking about, hey, how do I just sack employees and save expenses? And the right methodology is how can you start thinking about how you can reuse those people, train them on new things, and actually create more new revenue streams for the business? That's a win-win situation.
Do you remember in elementary school they would say recycle, reduce,
Reuse,
reuse, and
and
close the loop,
yeah,
right? So like this is the same
Captain
thing.
Planet.
Oh yeah, that's Captain Planet. That's right. That's
Yeah.
Captain Planet. That's right. Only we would know that because we're older now. But yeah, that's cool. I think that the main takeaway for everyone here is, sure, like Neil, you and I, like I was just in another meeting this week. It's like, oh yeah, we're cutting 50%, we're cutting 40%. Like we're hearing that over and over. But maybe before you do that, think about, because humans are amazing, right? Maybe think about the things that because your business is a problem solving machine. What other problems can your business solve if you had this labor already? And then absolutely, if you need to, like last resort, maybe you think about cutting, right? Because we might talk about it a lot, but none of us take any pleasure in having to cut people. It's there's people's livelihoods. So
Dude, I met up with the company a few days ago, 2 days ago in Canada, and we were talking about AI and how it can just make things more efficient. So this company is in the medical space, specifically like think like Hims and Hers,
yeah,
right? So similar type of business where prescription drugs, medical advice, telemedicine, all that kind of stuff. They have AI cranking out 4,500 creatives per month. It helped them scale the business from $1.5 million a month within a few months to guess how much. Technically, they were doing $1.5 million, and that took them years to build up. And in a few months, with 4,500 creatives per month, and 3 months later, what do you think they got the MRR to?
50 million.
Uh, it's a high number. It wasn't as big as 50, but close enough. It was a little bit more than 20. So to go from $1.5 million to 20 plus million in a matter of 3 months,
12 to 240.
that's ridiculous.
Annualized, yeah.
Yeah. And it was all because 4,500 new creatives per month. And that was the goal. Because you know this, dude, once you can crack the nut and you can get your ROI to be, high enough, you can scale really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to scale their own ads. Then you can give all those ads and the stuff that's working to affiliates, which a lot of companies don't think about, but it's still an extremely powerful marketing tool and channel. And then you get all the affiliates to start pushing you as well. And then now you're growing faster on both ends and it's much more profitable.
That's right, Noah. You need more creative for your business because at a certain point, creative is the limiting factor. It's not even
Yes.
the ad optimization anymore. It's the creative. Yeah.
Dude, everyone keeps telling me it's like, oh yeah, we're focusing on our campaign structures. We're focusing on our bid management. And I was
Who's
just
saying
like,
that to you?
dude, when I meet so many people at conferences, even corporations, and I'm giving speeches on like, using AI in your SEO and your paid advertising, making it more efficient. And they're telling me like how they restructure their campaigns or they're running tests on, hey, should we not bid for our brand name or should we bid for our brand name? Bidding for your brand name, assuming you're a big company, can cost you a lot of money because if you don't bid, typically you control the organic listings, and then you should only be bidding when your other competitors are bidding for your name. And in theory, large corporations trademark their name so that you can't have other companies bidding on your name and including your name in the actual ad copy. So you have an advantage there. But when I always talk to companies about paid ads, I always tell them there's two main levers you have over the competition. and people don't get it. And when I say they don't get it, they don't really execute on it. One is creative. You talked about that. And I would bucket in creative with landing pages and the flow and the whole experience, because your creative is not just about the images, it's also about the messaging, and you need to make sure the messaging flows. But that is just one thing. And if you can test tons of variations of that, you'll eventually figure out how to get more leverage. The second thing is your first party data. What you upload to the system drastically impacts the output. If you have more data than the competition, it can help learn way better and figure out what people to target. If you're a brand new business with very little data, you're not going to perform as well compared to established business, at least from a targeting perspective, versus someone who can upload 200,000 data points and just be like, here you go, find more people like these existing 200,000 customers. And out of these 200,000 customers, these 10,000 are really our ideal customer profile.
So you're talking about ads right now, right? And I think something that's interesting, because ads have largely been been auction based for a long
Uh-huh.
time, right? So I um I think an interesting thought here is when you think about the future of pricing might be auction based too. And what I mean by that is this. So let's use Uber Suggest, let's use Answer to Public, or let's use ClickFlow as an example. Okay, so let's assume all of our tools have APIs on them. So the argument here is that API pricing is going to look a lot more like ad auctions in the agent first future. Okay, so let's say I'm using your API a lot. Okay, but a lot other people are demanding it as well. Maybe it might just be auction based. Okay, so because you might have like a .md file, the agents can call it and they'll say, okay, let's see who the highest bidder is, because they're bidding at such a high frequency. So then it's like,
Yes.
okay, you want to use our API, instead of getting rate limited, you say, no, just pay more and we won't rate limit you.
Yes.
That's interesting, right?
It is really interesting.
Quick break. If you're doing AI SEO or content marketing in general, you know what the problem is. The problem is you're spending hours writing yourself, or you're paying agencies lots and lots of money, and you're getting AI slop that sounds just like everyone else. That's why we built ClickFlow. ClickFlow creates production grade content that actually sounds like you. Plus, it helps you with other areas such as building internal links, creating FAQs, and more. One customer even reported saving 90 plus hours a month just by using ClickFlow. You can get a 14-day free trial just by going to clickflow.com. No more AI slop, just production grade content that drives traffic and conversions. Back to the show.
By the way, I'm curious on your take on this, and I'll tell you what I think is going to end up happening. I had a discussion with around like 6 or 7 other marketers yesterday on where we think ads are going to go within these LLMs. I'm not talking about just ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google,
Claude,
etc.
Gemini.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the list goes on and on. Where do you think ads are going to go?
Like how they're going to look?
Not how they're going to look, um, or let me rephrase that. Well, actually, I don't know how to state the question, but more so, when I was talking to people, a lot of people think that ads are going to look like similar to how they look today, but instead, there's just different formats of them. So you may see, more interactive ads or videos explaining things because of AI, and then maybe you convince them and do, because some people do educational based ads. So instead of sending a text based article, maybe AI creates a video for the customer if they're looking to reduce their wrinkles, and it pitches their product, and it does that in real time. I think we're going to start seeing more of that over time, but I think what we're really going to see is all the platforms copy Instagram and TikTok.
Hmm.
If you think about Instagram and TikTok, now they're just trying to keep you on platform and do every single transaction there. I know in the past, Google has tested trying to collect mortgage leads or travel or insurance or whatever it may be for certain industries and just keep them on google.com. But I believe you're going to start seeing more and more of that. Let's take banking, for example. If you're on ChatGPT, or if you're on Google or Gemini, and you're looking up the best bank accounts for you, the banks with the best mortgage rates and credit cards based on your income and where you are in life and how old you are and your credit. If you're a bank, do you really care if they visit your website to sign up, or they just sign up right there and then on the LLM? Because the LLM will pass you all the data, right? To
Mhm.
create the bank account, you're still collecting their name, their email, their social, all the stuff that you need. So you can still target the person. You have all the information. If the conversions are 15 to 20% higher because they're still on the platform, so it's cheaper for you, wouldn't you just want more conversions to keep them on the platform versus them going to your website? They can log in on your website.
Yeah.
Who cares? Let them sign up wherever.
Yeah.
Money's money.
So I think the future of ads is one, you're gonna have more in-app conversions because you're already seeing it with the Stripe API. I forgot what they were calling it, but they partnered up with Stripe, Shopify, and Google had partnered up to do
With
that, right? Agentic
OpenAI.
commerce, yeah,
Yeah.
agentic commerce, something ACP, agentic commerce platform. That's what it was. Okay, so that's gonna happen. But I think you're gonna have a lot of things happening. We had talked about dynamic movies in the past, right? You might watch an Indian movie, I might watch a Chinese movie or whatever, but it's
Yes.
the same movie, but it's being personalized. I think that's gonna happen with ads because Google has all of your data already. They have YouTube, they have everything. So maybe you're watching a YouTube video and then all of a sudden it's like instead of how like when people watch soccer games or basketball games, like the
Uh-huh.
ads are dynamic, right? It's gonna be
Yes.
dynamic, but it's gonna be a lot more tasteful. That's coming down the road, I think. And I think hardcore, you're gonna see way more agentic ads because the agents, the speed of agents right now is growing parabolic. So we're gonna see a lot.
Yeah, when you think about ads, the best example of more of what you're gonna see is kinda like YouTube TV,
Hmm.
because if I watch CNBC, which I do through YouTube TV, and someone else watches CNBC through YouTube TV, we're gonna see different ads because they understand or they have data on us and they can do much better targeting. But in addition to that, what Eric and I are talking about is on the fly, they're going to modify the ad copy and the videos to adjust to the individual so it's more personalized, and that should help conversions go up as well.
Yep.
Um, and on another note, I also was having a debate with people on what they think is going to be the winners in the uh, AI space when it comes to these LLMs.
Who are you debating?
Uh, I was debating some people that work at financial companies and they're
Okay,
publicly traded. They're large.
interesting. So what is quantified as a win?
When being like who's going to be the leaders, just like how Google's the leader in search. They say, Meta's the leader in social media, whether
Okay, okay.
people
Yep.
agree with it or not. The data shows they are the leader, at least by revenue.
Yep.
I believe when it comes to enterprise, I don't think Claude is gonna be the winner. I actually think in the long run, it'll be Google or Microsoft in the long run, not short run. I'm not talking about the next year. I'm talking
5 years?
within 5. I would say, yeah, within 5 years, or for sure within 10, I believe Gemini and Microsoft are gonna be the leaders within enterprise. Um, for consumer, I think it's gonna vary based on generation. I think the younger generation is gonna use Gemini way more than ChatGPT, and we're already seeing this. Did I give you the example of Ari and Jaden, my sister's kids, and how they don't use ChatGPT?
Heaton's kids?
Yeah.
No? Oh, yeah, you did. You told me this a while back. Yeah, they laugh at you when you're like a boomer if you use ChatGPT.
Yeah, because they're like, "Why would you pay $20 a month?" They're like, "If we use our homework for ChatGPT, it cuts you off after a
But
while."
did you see the thing I shared to my Instagram where the guy's like, "What a" pardon my language, but I shared a meme to like one of those skits, right? And the guy's like, "You use ChatGPT?" And he starts dancing. What a complete dumbass! It's like, so that is kind of how I feel about people who just use ChatGPT now.
Uh-huh, and
Yeah.
then
Sorry, I don't feel like you're a dumbass. I just feel like it's behind the times. Yeah.
yeah, I think, Claude is doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I think Claude will take a big bite out of enterprise, but I think really quickly, Microsoft and Google will catch up. When I say quickly, I'm talking about within a year or 2 years, and what they'll do is they'll just say, "Here you go, you already pay us for our corporate suite, it's free." And, companies are gonna be like, "I could use Claude," which has been great, "but this is costing me $5 million a year as a big company. Google's just offering this stuff for us for free. I'll take the free." And they
Yeah.
can afford the losses.
Yeah. I think so. There's a couple things here. I think Anthropic right now has all like they have the mind share. They have all the momentum right now. They've surpassed OpenAI's revenue. Yeah,
Yes.
you saw that, right? And so it used to be OpenAI had all the mind share, ChatGPT,
Yeah,
ChatGPT, and
$30
there's
billion run rate.
yeah, it's insane. And it was just a couple months ago. It was like what was it?
9. I
Nine,
believe
nine,
it was
nine.
9.
It went from 6 to 9 to 30. Okay, so I don't. I think there's going to be a lot of players, but to your point, I think who's going to win long term. I would pick Google over Microsoft because Google actually has the models and they had remember we talked about the entire stack. They have the TPUs, they have everything, right?
Yeah.
And they have all the data too. So I'm like, I would pick Google, and then I like Anthropic over OpenAI just from an execution standpoint. So
Microsoft has the majority of the penetration for
they
enterprise,
have
though.
they have the mind share too when it comes to enterprise. So
Yeah,
like maybe, but they're getting screwed over by OpenAI right now. They're fighting. Who knows what's gonna happen?
but
Yeah.
forget if they get screwed over. I don't actually think Microsoft will get screwed over by OpenAI, and here's why. They got contracts.
Hmm.
So no matter what happens, they'll just sue and they'll figure out how to get their money. And they made a statement too. I don't know if you saw it publicly. I think it was Satya or someone on their team. They're like, "Hey, we're not worried about getting litigious. We have our contracts, everything's in writing. We're
Yeah.
not worried about it on our end. We
Did you
feel
see
very
this?
secure.
I didn't read this full article, but the Sam Altman on New York Times, and people are just talking about how it is working with him and all that. And like, obviously he's getting sued by Elon right now, and then like, there's all these. Then there's like the employee that like supposedly like offed himself. Like, so anyway, there's a lot around there where I'm just like, OpenAI as a company is a little shaky right now, but
I think if Sam goes, I bet you Brett Taylor will take it over.
which is good from Sierra. Yeah,
I bet you they'll just buy Brett Taylor's company. He'll take it over. He's an amazing
he's
operator.
strong.
He's
Yeah.
a strong
I mean,
operator. He was supposed to be the CEO of
he's on
Salesforce.
Facebook's board, right? He was
Is he on Facebook's
he
board?
was he was on Facebook's board.
Twitter, I know he was on Twitter's
Yeah.
board.
So he really strong investor, very strong operator.
Came from
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
Did really well there. I think they bought his
He did
company.
maps, I think.
Something like that. I know Salesforce bought one of his companies.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be the CEO, and then he decided to go do his own thing.
Yeah, Sierra, which is they're growing quickly. I think they're doing 175 or something like that. Okay, so we're talking about OpenAI. I think we might as well also talk about how OpenAI paid $200 million for an 18-month-old podcast. So TBPN, which people thought it was Tech Bros Podcast Network. I thought it was that the whole time, but apparently it's called something else. So they paid $200 million for this podcast, and I'm opening up the post right now on Instagram.
I didn't know it was $200 million. I saw the post because the post I saw when they did the announcement, they didn't disclose the price.
What did you think it was?
I had no idea.
Yeah. So anyway, the key thing here is I'm not gonna pull it up, but so $200 million, and the thinking here is that we can talk about this. OpenAI, they get a lot of press written about them, right? Not all of it's good press right now, especially that
Yes.
New York Times article, right? So the thinking here is like Andreessen Horowitz has said that they want to own the media, they want to own what's being said about them. So I think this is what OpenAI is trying to do. And for Sam Altman, it's probably like, okay, it's $200 million. It's probably a drop in the bucket versus all the other stuff that they have going on. So he probably let the transaction through. Now, so they have to turn off all their ads now. This podcast last year did $5 million with 11 employees. This year it has like a $30 million run rate. That being said, so now it's gonna be their distribution channel or whatever. You can argue it's a distraction, but maybe they have somewhat like a VP that's managing it. What do you think about this transaction?
So they already have so many eyeballs. I think it's a waste, but that's just my 2 cents. Also owned by them, I think your guests are going to end up changing too, and who's going to want to be on it and not be on it.
Mhm.
For example, why would Zuck want to continually be on a podcast owned by OpenAI? That's just my 2 cents. Maybe I'm wrong. You and I are both media companies in of ourselves, right? Because we have audiences. I find that media having eyeballs is really valuable, but owning the properties isn't always the best. And we throw conferences all throughout the world and our own events. So we just came back from Canada, and I was doing an event in Toronto, and I think our event is called Full Circle. I should know this, but I
Wow,
don't know.
unbelievable.
I showed up. I didn't even know we were having an event. But dude, I'm speaking sometimes like 4 times a week, where it's just so hard to keep track.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Dude,
all right.
you went from no speaking to full speaking.
More than last year. It's
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think this week alone, I gave 5 speeches.
Wow, including online,
No, not
all
including
all
online.
in person.
All in person. It's becoming so much that like I didn't even know we were throwing our own event.
Yeah.
I know we throw our own event, but it's usually partnered with the Canadian Marketing Association.
Uh-huh.
And this time they're just like, we want to throw our own event, like an NP digital event. So what our team did, which I thought was really smart, there's a conference, a social media conference that I was speaking at the next day called Social Next.
Mhm.
And I spoke at their Calgary event. I spoke at their Toronto event yesterday. They had really good ratings and feedback from me. The founder of it said, he's just like, hey, guess what? His name's Mike. He's like, did you know you were our highest rated speaker? He's like, pretty much for the whole event. People were ecstatic for you. Or think it was the whole event or the whole year for all their events. So he's ecstatic. And I didn't know that we partnered with him to throw our own event.
Mhm.
And they sold tickets to it. I think they sold 180 tickets at $500 a pop. We also put money out of our pockets because we normally spend, call it $25,000. This is in Canadian dollars, by the way, for on both ends, ticket prices and how much we spend. So let's call it, I don't know how much the event did in profit, but my guess is it broke even based on everything I can see with the food and everything.
Which they usually do, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my team how we'd end up doing this. I'm like, don't tell me we're getting in the conference business. And they said, no, we're not getting in conference business. Social Next runs it for us. It's our branded event and they handle everything. It's for them to make profit or for them to lose money. We, of course, help them because we don't want them to lose
Yeah.
money.
And for the leads to go to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for events, usually you end up losing money for the first few years.
Hmm.
And most people don't realize that. But if you do a really good job, you can eventually make money. They're really happy. They want to work with us more. And I was like, yeah, we should roll this out on the West Coast of Canada too, because this conference organizer does both the East and the West Coast. And then I was like, we should do this in a lot of countries. So instead of us owning the conference, we don't want to own the conference. And I think my team made the right decision. But we're getting access to the media and the eyeballs, and it's kind of like ours because
You're co-branded.
yeah, it's co-branded,
Yeah.
but we don't have to deal with the logistics, the
Yeah.
food, or anything. And yes, eventually they'll make great profit from it. We don't care for the profit because that's not our core business.
Yep.
I don't think the money is in running media companies.
That's so smart. That's actually something a lot of people should do. Because there's a lot of these conference businesses that are hungry for distribution audience and they just want to make money, whereas you just want the lead
Yeah, we just want the leads.
to make more money, to be honest.
Correct.
So
Because
so
we believe our business model is better than running a
yeah,
conference.
which is true. Okay, so I actually pulled up the deal here. So you got Zuck's face, Alex Karp's face from Palantir, and you got Satya Nadella's,
Yeah.
right? So deal valued at 200 million. I'm sure maybe there's some stock. I don't know. And only 11 employees, and then 5 million ad revenue in 2025, on track for 30 million. Revenue per employee, assuming 30 million in sales is greater than Apple's. I think that's a stupid comparison. To even
Yes.
talk about that. Yeah,
$30 million
yeah,
versus do you want to know what Apple's revenue
billions and
is?
billions.
I think is Apple getting close to 400? Well, dude, oh wow.
What is it?
Yeah, I was right. 416 billion in
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah, I'll take the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, here's the thing. So look at this. They achieve 4 to 10,000 views per episode, which is not a lot. 257,000 average views per clip on X. The clips aren't marketing. The clips are the product. Okay, so average views on YouTube 4K, which is not much. Average live viewership 7K. So the clips do really well for them, which is cool because X has a lot of tech folks hanging out there. So they are very much like in the middle of the culture, or you can call it the zeitgeist, I guess. Tech buying media is an old playbook. Microsoft plus NBC plus MSNBC equals MSNBC. Bloomberg sells terminals. Robinhood acquired Market Snacks. I don't think a lot of these go anywhere. And I think in this case, sure, maybe it's a drop in the bucket, but OpenAI had just said, because it's code red right now, because Anthropic's whooping their butt, they said we got to focus right now. They said they're gonna move it over to the enterprise. I had talked to someone yesterday. This is a salesperson because we're talking about working with their company, and he said, we're on ChatGPT Enterprise right now. We were going to switch to Anthropic, which would have been like $5 million switch. But ChatGPT was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We have something coming out that's going to crush cowork in the next month, which they probably aren't. But you can see they're losing a lot of like deals
Yes.
left and right.
I believe they really are losing a ton of deals right now.
Yep. So anyway, on the topic of X, Neil, I did something.
Wait,
Yeah.
let's go back really quickly to OpenAI. Did you see their marketing move
What?
that they just pulled off?
What did I do?
They already have the eyeballs.
Uh-huh.
They're losing a lot of people to Claude.
Yeah.
So what did they just announce? Cheaper pricing and integration
When they
with
announce
Claude.
it. Oh yeah,
Yesterday.
yeah, yeah. The integration with was it Claude Code? I think it's integration
Uh-huh.
to Claude Code. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is smart
Yeah.
because you're being the pipes,
Mhm.
right? And in marketing, if you can't win the mind share, you can win a lot of people just on price. Like if your offer is just half the price or a third, a lot of people will just switch
Yeah.
over.
And so with OpenClaw right now, by the way, Anthropic had shut down just to use the OAuth, which means that you could just use like a $200 subscription instead of paying like $7,500 like I did last month. So they shut off the loophole. Now a lot of people are switching over to using Codex or ChatGPT 5.4, sorry, from
Wait,
OpenAI.
can you break down what you're talking about with the $7,500?
So what was happening with OpenClaw was people were using Claude for it because Claude is still the best model to use
Yeah.
OpenClaw with. Okay, so but there was a loophole. You could actually tie in OpenClaw with your Claude subscription, which is only $20 or $200 a month, and Anthropic will subsidize your $200 for it's like 5 to 6 grand worth of tokens. Okay, so people were abusing it that way, but that was costing Anthropic too much money. So they're like, we gotta shut
Oh, so
that
they
down.
close a loophole.
We gotta shut that down. And when they shut that down, all of the entire open claw community got mad, right? And so a lot of them are moving over to OpenAI's and they're just using their subscription, which OpenAI is okay with because
Open claw.
they own OpenClaw, right? So, but this week, Claude, this is a misstep, I think. They launched their own version of Manage Agents, which is like an OpenClaw competitor. It's a piece of crap right now. It'll probably get better, but it's kind of trash. So
Yeah.
yeah, but net, I think Anthropic's doing a really good job of shipping. Their high velocity shipping is a way of marketing because they have all these like clips that they're sharing on X and they're doing well. Google does a really good job too. Google makes like a Gemma account. They have like a Nano Banana account. They have all these accounts
Yeah.
and they all like cross promote each other and they get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views.
It's funny, no one really talks about Nano Banana anymore, but it's so great.
I love it. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not using it and you're a marketer, you're making a big mistake.
Yeah. So something I want to talk about. So Jack Dorsey wrote something about world intelligence. Okay, so I was reading this post, and I was like, as I was reading this post, he talks about this concept of world intelligence, where you have this one AI that's trained and integrated with all of your software, and then your entire team can query this. And I'm reading it, I'm like, dude, we have this already. So then I write a post on how you can deploy world intelligence to X. That post gets about 500,000 views on it. And what I realized, and I don't know what you're seeing, Neil, but a lot of companies have reached out to us after that, right? They're like, and we have single brain, right? Single brain is this world
Yeah.
intelligence. And vibe coded website or not, it drives leads. I'll tell you that much. So um, a couple of publicly traded multi-billion-dollar companies reached out this week, and what I've learned from the AI needs from people is everyone wants AI. Two, they have no idea what they want. Okay, but number three, they want it now. Okay,
Yes.
so everyone, to your point, like as you were saying earlier, so one company's like, we're working with a large agency holding company right now. We want to do 1,000 ads a month. They're too slow. We want this for ads. Okay, another company's like, oh, we want the cold outbound piece of what you do with Single Brain because it does end to end workflows, builds out cold emails, everything, right? Deal resurrector, and so I've just realized that one, everyone needs a single brain, and that's kind of our wedge into everything. But I think we're going to see a lot more of this because Ramp, the credit card company,
Uh-huh.
so they do this too. They have something called Glass, I think, and it's like their world intelligence for their internal team, where they can query whatever they want. And then they have this thing called Sensei. It's like a big like Japanese like arc, and Sensei will coach people and say, "Oh, you need these skills over here. Are you adding this?" And then everyone has their own agent, right? So we're already doing that internally, and my team is saying one person said I'm 40% faster. One person onboarded himself using one of these agents. He's like, it's a 9 out of 10. And someone else yesterday was complaining. I say, hey, how do we fix this? I think I'm dependent on this thing now. So I think this is where the world's going. And I think the fact that I understand more now why Jack Dorsey was confident cutting 40% of people. So
I also think, and you're seeing this, he cut 40% of people because they just weren't growing. So they had kind of no choice.
two things can exist in the same world.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But by the way, my company's getting off of Amex. I was shocked
Why? Huh?
because I have an Amex credit
Wait,
card.
wait, without you saying yes? You've been Amex hardcore your whole life.
I still have Amex
Yeah, I know.
personally and for my other companies.
Okay, so explain the story.
I have no idea. They just told me the other day that we're switching. I believe it's called Ramp. What's the There's two of them. There's
Ramp
Ramp.
and Brex. You're probably switching to Ramp. You know why? Ramp has APIs, and you can ask whatever you want. Dude, you will like this because I'm switching us to Ramp. I said, hey, enough of this Bill.com crap. Okay, I'm not gonna apply for Bill.com API. I need
Yeah.
an API so I can ask whatever I want, and I can control all the spending stuff if I need to. If I need to, but I don't need to.
Yeah, but our team's switching everything to Ramp.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask why. They just said, hey, you're going to get a new credit card. Your Amex is no longer going to work. In the next 30 days, you will get a Ramp credit card.
Are you still keeping your black card?
That's personal.
Okay.
Why would I get rid of that?
I don't know.
The perks are amazing.
Explain.
The perks?
Yeah. Your perks keep getting better. That's all I know.
The fees, I think we pay $20,000 a month for the Black Amex. Me, $5,000 a month. I mean,
Uh-huh.
5,000 a year.
Uh-huh.
My wife's credit card, another 5,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then the corporate cards, I have two other corporations that I own. That's another 5,000 each a year. So just in Amex fees, I'm not talking about like
Yeah.
what I'm spending on the card.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what Amex charges me for the cards
Yeah.
on an annual basis. I believe I'm spending around 20,000.
Did they give you that LAX airport thing where they like drive you
Yes,
around?
that's
Okay.
one of the biggest things that I use.
Yeah.
So when I land in LAX,
Uh-huh.
I don't have to go through security.
Mhm.
Amex through it's called like private shuttle or service
I
or
forgot
something
what it's
like
called.
that.
Yeah.
They have it at certain airports where, like when I landed from Hong Kong, and I just got back from Canada, but I don't use it for that because if you're a U.S. citizen coming back from Canada, they have immigration when you're in Canada.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
you go through it. So when you land in the U.S., you don't have to go through customs or anything.
Mhm.
But when I was coming from Hong Kong, right when I landed, instead of going through immigration, right when I exit the plane, right, I'm walking down off that off ramp.
Mhm.
There's someone there holding a sign with my name. I'm not talking about even going into the airport. I'm talking about just right when you
Yeah, I
exit
know what you
off
mean.
that
Yeah.
ramp, and they'd walk you down the stairs, put you in a car, they take you to a different place. There's a customs person there. If there's, of course, no one in line, it
Mhm.
takes like 1 second.
Mhm.
They get you through. A car picks me up and takes me back to my
Yeah.
home. And guess what my cost was?
0.
Yes.
But that thing typically costs a lot per year. I think was it like 200 grand a year or 100 grand a year
For what?
for that service?
No, it's in the thousands per year, I believe, as a member, and then you got to pay per usage.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of usage for free because you get X amount of usage for free per Black Amex card.
Yeah.
So I have so many of them, I
Yeah.
just cycle through
Dude, that's a good clip for you. Uh,
'em. But that's one of the best perks that I get. There's another perk that I get that I've never used. I get free Equinox gym membership.
yeah, you never go. Yeah.
I've never
Dude,
signed up
you
for
should
it.
just give it to me and sign me up for your family. I pay for it.
You pay for Equinox
Yeah.
membership?
300 bucks a month. 350.
It's
350.
that
Yeah,
expensive?
cuz I use the one at the mall. It's
Yeah, but I can
expensive.
go to any Equinox for free.
Just Eric Patel.
We'll find out if I can use mine and hook it up for you, and I gladly will because I don't use
I'll
Equinox.
take it. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, but here's the thing we should talk about, and then we can move on here. So Ramp is interesting to me because they ship again. It's kind of like Anthropic. They ship so quickly. Talking about glass, they're like, here's how we got our company AI built. Here's the software we use over here. You just their velocity is so fast, and nobody talks about Brex anymore. Brex sold, right? And congratulations to
Oh,
the
Breck
Brex.
sold.
Yeah,
It was like MasterCard or one of those companies
yeah,
bought them.
yeah. So to me, like, sure, the founders probably made out well, and congratulations to them. But in my mind, Brex was ahead, and then Ramp was like, oh, another one,
They
and then
kicked their
Ramp
butt.
kicked their butt just by shipping. And I met the founders before, really nice guys.
New York based,
I
I
met them in
believe.
Miami, so they have houses
Of
in
course,
Miami.
because they don't want to pay state income tax.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, it's a good car. I just won't switch because of the Amex perks. The biggest one is actually not the security. It's actually buying plane tickets. I get half off.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the business insurance, you get half off. When you use points, they'll give you 50% back.
Oh, it's like it was 50% on platinum before, and then they reduced it to 35%, and they like cheapened that one, but yours stays the same, I think.
I get 50% back every
Are you
time.
talking about you're using just buying it on points?
Yeah, they'll give me 50% back right away.
Yeah, for every flight, any flight.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
So when I look at the cost for the card versus how much I actually save, because I fly so much, the savings is way more than the fees that they're charging me.
Yeah, that's good. And then the way your points accrue, well, here's the problem. Your points would accrue from your personal spend, yes, but your company spend was helping a lot with that in the past,
No, I never collected points from the corporate spend. We just do cash back
which is good.
because our corporate spend was high.
Yeah,
I just have so many points
yeah.
that I just don't use them.
So remember our late friend Brandon? So he brought this up a long time ago. Like it's like the getting cash back is better because if you're to sell your company
Yes.
later, you have a multiple on that cash.
I don't know about the multiple on the cash because when someone buys your company, they look at every single transaction and they can pick and choose which ones they want to accept. The reason we did cash back is there was a point where I had like 11 million Amex points and it was building really fast. I was stacking up more than 1 million points a month. And I was like, man, what am I doing with all these points? Because half the time when I travel, someone's paying for it. Actually, not even half. Probably like 80 to 90% of the time
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
traveling, someone else is paying for the flight.
Yeah.
So there's only so many times I'm using it. And then I fly so much, I accumulate so many airline miles that I don't even use it. Like when my wife booked the Disney cruise vacation,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, $1,000 per ticket, one way to go from LA to Vancouver business class. I'm like, these fuel prices are causing plane tickets to be so expensive. I was like, just use the United points. I didn't even care if it was a good deal or not. I just
Yeah.
have so many points. I don't
Yeah.
want to pay the 4 grand personally.
Dude, I'll buy your points at a discount.
Yeah, so I don't really use them.
Yeah.
And then I have Amex points,
Yeah.
so I don't really use tons of those either. Yes, I do make enough money from my Amex points, booking flights and stuff like that where it's worth the fees. But majority of the time, like if I'm flying, like I flew Emirates to India right before the war, it was almost $30,000
Yeah.
for a round trip. I didn't pay for that, right? So it's like, and I wouldn't pay for that. I
Yeah.
would go fly business or something that's
Yeah.
way more cheaper. But the points started accumulating. And what I found was when I started getting points, call it 10 years ago, you could redeem them and it was a really good deal. Now, because flights are so expensive, the points don't take you that far. I don't care to collect anymore. Once I'm done using all of mine, I'll cut down on my Amex cards because then I won't need as many. Like the perks won't be as good. Um, I'll keep only 3. I'll get rid of one of the corporation ones. Actually, I should do that now. I don't know why I don't. And then outside of that, you know, I'll just get cash back for everything because the ROI is better if you just get money versus the points.
So, well, we'll end it with this. I think if you have a surplus of points, don't be an idiot like me. Remember that flight to Dubai when we flew Emirates first class.
Uh-huh.
I was stupid. I could have gotten that flight for 400,000 points. Instead, I spent like 2 million or 2.2 million or something like that, right? But my point is, everyone needs a points dealer. So I actually have a points dealer now that all he does is focus on optimizing points. Okay, I can intro you to him. You
No,
tell
no,
me
no,
have
no.
11 million.
I wish you told me before you did that. I could have told you just book it with points.
I did book it with points.
No, not points. The transfer to Emirates.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I knew about it, but I was too lazy to do it. But it cost me 1.6 million points or 1.8 million points. But my point is, if you have a points dealer, all they do is say, okay, how many points do you have? Where are you trying to go? Okay, I got it. He spends all the time doing it, and you pay him what, $100 to do the work.
Yeah, but the problem now with Emirates when you transfer points, because I booked my parents' tickets to India, when you transfer to there, a lot of times you'll use the points and they expect you to pay half with cash. So like the deals overall of just using points to book any type of airline,
Is it
whether it's
because
directly to a
after
credit card
the?
or with the airline, they're terrible. It's not great anymore. Just take your
Do
cash.
you think they're terrible right now because of the war or?
No, they've been terrible for years. That's why I stopped trying to collect points.
Ah,
The reason I still collect points on Amex is because without getting into it, my personal credit card bills aren't the lowest.
you've already had made this public before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, all right. So let's continue on here. So Neil, I'm sure you've seen this already, but I think it's worth talking about this. So this guy created 800 fake doctors to generate 1.8 billion in revenue with one employee. Okay, so this guy, um, this guy Matthew Gallagher. Okay, so he made 800 plus Facebook accounts for fake doctors to advertise on Facebook, and went on to build a GLP-1 telehealth company with just $20,000 to start with, AI, and only one full-time teammate, his brother. So it generated 401 million in 2025 and could reach 1.8 billion in 2026. So this is the guy over here, and
Did
then
he
these
get
are all the ads that
sued?
he's running. I don't think so. I mean, this GLP-1 that he's doing, a lot of people are doing it. They're basically like affiliates for this GLP-1 company, and he's just going hard on the doctors. And he was responding to this. He was saying like a lot of people do this. So I don't know if that's okay. He says a lot of people do it. I don't know if it's okay.
I don't think that's okay,
Yeah.
creating fake doctor profiles.
Yeah.
Typically, when you can make money in marketing that fast,
Yeah.
something's wrong.
Easy come, easy go.
Yes, and it's gonna get shut down. So,
Yeah.
but if you made your money really quickly, great for you. But me personally, I wouldn't want to do something unethical like create fake doctor
I
profiles.
think we're going to see more, maybe not exactly like this business model, but I think we are going to start to see more one person, billion-dollar companies with one employee. Like, just because he used AI to write the code, which isn't really that sophisticated, produce the website copy, generate I really think his main wedge was he pushed hard on the AI ads piece because someone else on X responded saying, I'm in this space as well. Everyone knows this guy. He's just super aggressive with the ads. And that's what you need to do as an affiliate. You need to be hardcore. That's how the biggest affiliates win.
Yes, but you also have to be careful because if you're super aggressive, you can get sued too because you're probably making claims and promises that you shouldn't be.
Yes. And so we're not saying you should do that, but I think we're saying be aggressive and you'll be able to do well.
Or let me rephrase what Eric is really saying. He's not saying be aggressive, from the aspect of creating false promises and
Yes, don't do
ads.
that.
He's saying be aggressive with AI and have it help you scale up faster. Sorry
Correct.
for interrupting
No,
you.
no, no, you're fine. And speaking of, because we're talking about AI right now, have you seen? I've been reading these Cotu charts. I think it's worth it. I'm like, I really like how they do their charts. They have their blog is just all these. You've seen these, right?
Yeah.
So okay, this Cotu chart over here. Those of you that can't see it, I'm going to explain it. Neil can re-explain it as well. So if you look from 1900 to 1960, this is the adoption of the tractor. Okay, so the tractor decimated farm employment, but led to the greatest expansion in U.S. history. Okay, so when you look over here, um, you have 12 million agricultural workers in the beginning of 1900, and then manufacturing starts to take off. Okay, and then this guy Keynes, who is the economist, we're being afflicted with a new disease, of which some readers may not have heard the name, but which they will hear a great deal in the years to come, namely technological unemployment. Okay. So the tractor becomes widespread in 1917. And then what happens is you see agriculture, the green line over here, continues to go down all the way to 1970. So it goes from 12 million to 3.5 million, which is 2% of the workforce, from 41% to 2%. But what ends up happening, Neil, is employment actually goes up. So job displacement happens, okay, from this period 1970 to 1940ish, but it goes up over time, right? And that's the same thing with the bank, the ATM. The ATM, when it came out, people were like, "Oh my god, everyone's gonna lose their jobs." Blah blah blah. There's a period of time where, like, sure, there's some job displacement, but after, what happened? More banks opened, which created more employment. So I think short term, yes, fear. Long term, everything's gonna be okay.
I'm with you. And I think Mark Andreessen talked about how he believes that we're going to see a massive boom because of AI. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
We're seeing it actually create more employment opportunities than it did before. Yes, it's also reducing employment, but it's about how can you shift people from a job that can easily be replaced, retrain them, and put them into something else.
Here's what I'll say, Neil. I don't. This is just my observations. I will say that um, everyone on my team's a good person, right? I will say the interns are completely cracked out right now. Okay, so the interns are extremely hardworking, all in on AI. Okay, that's one piece. The second piece is the engineers and the product people all in. Okay, when you talk to them about this stuff, they're just working around the clock. They are working until their eyes hurt, right? And so I. I actually think so. I have two NVIDIA DGX Sparks arriving today, so I'm gonna be working on that over the weekend. I think my token costs, even though I'm reducing it with this infrastructure, I think it's going to go way higher because everyone's starting to use it like this. And so what's going to happen is I was doing the math. I'm like, man, maybe even 36 months out, I'm going to need the power of 336 H100s from NVIDIA. And by that time, it's going to be something else. But this thing's called Jevons paradox. When electricity came out, people started to use it more. Internet came out, people started to use it more and more. AI came out, people are going to want to use it more and more. So our costs, I think it's gonna skyrocket. It might even be equal to or more than our headcount costs.
Yeah.
Have you mapped that out yet for your company? I'm sure your
No,
people have.
they may have. I have no idea, honestly, if they mapped it out or not.
Yeah.
I just dude, it's just fascinating on how many things are changing so fast. Like, you're s we're coming to an inflection point where AI is really useful in corporations because of agents.
Mhm.
Everyone talked about agents and how they're gonna change consumers and, "Oh, they're gonna shop for you and do all this stuff." I think the big revolution with agents is not gonna be the consumer side. I actually think it's gonna be the corporate side. On the consumer side, yeah, people want an agent to be like their little mini assistant.
Mhm.
But on the corporation side, I think it's just gonna change the world on how businesses do work. But the hard part that we're seeing everywhere we go, dude, everyone wants to move 10 times faster now.
Mm.
We're not seeing people talk too much about like, hey, how do we cut costs? They're talking about we need to do 10x more.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that I think is the correct
Yes.
approach.
That's the vibe. So, like, one of my friends messaged me. He's like, so I wasn't even telling him to buy anything. I was just telling him what we're working on, and then all of a sudden he's like, "The answer is yes. We need this." And so I think if you're working right now, you're like, "Man, there's not going to be that much opportunity." I'm telling you, the opportunity is going to be insane for everybody. I think a lot of people are going to win. And by the way, I've been mapping out these charts, Neil. Check this out. So, here's the infrastructure scale. Check this out, Neil. So this is the infrastructure requirements for single brain. If we experience hypergrowth, it goes like this in terms of how much infrastructure we need in the next 36 months. Aggressive is like this blue line over here. Conservative is like it still goes up, but this shows how many H100 nodes I'm going to need. And by that time, it's going to be something else because the chips are advancing so quickly. We're probably going to rent this infrastructure, and you're probably going to have to rent. So which is why I'm like, oh man, maybe we should buy CoreWeave stock. Not financial advice, but they have all the infrastructure. I think a lot of people are going to be renting this stuff.
Uh, yes, sorry, my bad.
That's
Someone
okay.
was texting me. They're like, "You jacked a client from me." And I was
Who?
like, I don't know what client I jacked from you. I'm sorry. We have like a ton of people in our company.
That's do I know this person?
Yeah, you know them and I know them and they're a good friend. And
Oh,
I'm
are
like,
they in Orange County?
yeah, they're in Orange County. And I'm like, I didn't jack a client from you. I'm like, dude, I don't know who the heck reaches out to me,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, but yeah, I was like, what can I do?
What can you do?
I can't. It's like this is what happens when you have a company and people reach out and then like I get blamed for jacking a client when I didn't even
Oh, that means it's okay for me to poach from Neil. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No,
Yeah.
dude, do whatever works for your business.
No, I don't do that. That's screwed up. Remember, we know someone that has done that to you multiple times, and that's not cool because this person came to you for advice and
That
was
was
your friend.
employees.
Yeah,
No, no, but this person didn't. He's pissed off
I know, I know.
that I took his
I know,
client,
but
but
I
I didn't
kind of
reach
look
out
at
to
them.
his
I
client.
kind of look at them in
Yeah.
similar veins, right? Like you just don't do that. But like in
Yes.
your case, like this is not something you were like aware of. Like if you were aware of, you wouldn't have done it. This
No.
person willingly did it to you on the employee side, right?
Yes.
So yeah. But by the way, this is maybe rosy, but it shows how revenue scales and infrastructure scales. The revenue is the blue, so it scales a lot faster than the infrastructure cost. So I'll pay for this all day. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, you can pick one.
I'm just hoping all these costs start going down because we're starting to see our financial bills or you know, our we had an internal meeting about reducing our AI costs. Like it's getting out of hand.
But why would you reduce it if it's you're paying for intelligence that can do more for you and the costs are going to continue to come down?
Not necessarily. Just because AI is going to be more efficient and just because the cost for using these platforms and technology is going to come down, there's efficient ways to use it and there's inefficient ways to use it.
That you should reduce.
Yes. And when we look at how some of our team members are using it,
Hmm.
there's much more efficient ways where they can be using it and your costs go down drastically.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you know this. There's a lot of things you can do on premise on your own machines or buy machines, and it's just way cheaper than paying
Yeah.
some of these guys money. So it's just like, okay, do we wanna end up putting in all this effort to set up our own machines? And I'm like, yes, because we're spending so much money
Yeah.
on a monthly basis. I'm like, the recuperation time is not years. It's really quick, like a month or two. This is like, just pay for this.
I'll explain it this way. Like, so here's how we save on AI right now. So the way we save on AI is 15% is Ferrari cost. Okay. So you have Ferrari models, which is like the frontier models. And then the other 85% is Honda Accord budget. Okay. So that's where you like, that's a daily beater that you use to go get your groceries or whatever. So most of the time your people are asking like normal questions, like basic queries, like going back and forth. Maybe sometimes I might ask like stupid questions. That goes in 85%. The 15%, the Ferrari budget, that goes into you actually having the model think for you and code for you. Okay. And that's how our infrastructure is like the cost is breaking down right now. And you
Yeah.
might use tools like Open Router to route to the right model, and that'll save you more on cost. They'll charge you like 5% or something. That's pretty good. But also, you know what you can do with your model? Here's the hack. If you tell your model to speak like a caveman, that saves you a lot on costs. So it's like,
Yeah.
me code this now. Me need this. And I'm not even joking. Like it's cuts down to like 50 to 70% of costs. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably is.
Yeah.
I haven't actually looked at the breakdown, but it probably really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So like,
And then what do you think of the outputs? I don't think people are getting the outputs they really want, but they're burning the money.
oh, here I have an example. So there's this gal Claire Vo that shares this on her Twitter. So her open call is full caveman right now. So here, check this out. Uh, oh my god, she tweets a lot. Okay, here we go. Check this out. Need find files. Need maybe scripts in another directory hidden, grep. Need locate script, maybe grep with find plus grep. Need likely there's another script for mention monitor generating worth engaging. Maybe system uses X search. Search worth engaging.
Yeah, what we're starting to analyze on our end is how much are people using internally? What's the output that they're getting? And how much of the output do they actually use? because there's
Continue.
a big problem right now, at least what we're seeing in marketing departments. Yes, people are using AI. Yes, there are some efficiencies to be had, and you can say you can save on employees or whatever, but you're paying these LLMs and it's not cheap. And what you're finding is people are using them for whatever they want. And a lot of the stuff that they're using AI for, A, they may have not needed to use in the first place. And B, the outputs that they were created, uh, they aren't using it because they aren't happy with it, but sometimes they are using it, sometimes they're not. So if you start looking at the wastage and how much money you're spending on that, it's adding up for like big companies to be millions of dollars a year. And you know me, I go through credit card statements line item by line item and expenses, and I'm like, dude, they're just waste. How do we cut the waste?
Dude, the good news now is we started getting paid for a sponsorship, so that's why you're not getting bills for a while. So for this stuff.
We have been for a while now.
No, they just started paying. We just got the first payment on that one.
Oh, but we were doing it for a while. We just started
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
receiving
yeah,
the
yeah,
checks, is
yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
But before then, dude, we had sponsors for a while. Did she ever pay up on all the other stuff? Or did the other company ever pay up on the other stuff?
we didn't get that much. It was like it came over to cover our costs. We didn't get a lot. We got like she would send us payments for like $10 sometimes. Like
But I thought we were doing all these sponsorships. And she's like, look at all these contracts that I
we were
got you.
declining a lot. We just didn't want to do these things. Yeah. It was stupid. So, but we did cover all of our costs going through her. We didn't make a lot though, which is why we came off of it.
It was a terrible deal because her people promised the world
Yeah.
and they didn't deliver on
Here's
much.
what I'll say about that. Then I want to come back to what you were saying too. And I'm starting to forget what you're going to say too. But like, what were you just talking about before I cover that?
Just AI costs.
Okay, so we'll come back to AI costs. Um, so the partnership. So what had happened, Neil, was I was talking to a bunch of people, and a lot of people had a lot of followers. And even when I talked to the HubSpot team, that team, like when they heard about this team, they're like, oh, like I'm like, why are you guys reacting like that? It's like it's not good to work with it. Like, and everybody I've talked to is like, it's not good to work with these people. So we tried it, didn't work out. We have our own experiences, but we'll leave it at that. So AI costs. So on the AI cost side, what we're doing is because we're putting everything into Nemo Claw, right, which is the enterprise grade version of OpenClaw, and we're saying, okay, we want the agents to help with performance intelligence, which is where it will coach people. Okay, it will see how they're using it, how they're asking questions, how often they're asking questions, how it's getting coaching and all that, and how productive they're being with this in general, right? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, if you have this world intelligence, this single brain, and I think every company needs a single brain. If you have the single brain, it understands the entire company, all the goals, and it works with every single person. It coaches them up as well. Then everyone should grow. And then also, it's like, okay, based on how you're working with all these people, in what ways are we using this in a stupid way, and how do we save on costs? And then you can have the agent itself improve on saving you money. That's how I look at it because I'm constantly asking. There's a command, Neil, called /cost. You would run this all the time. It just tells you how you're spending your money and how to optimize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know Nemo Cloud was out already. The NVIDIA one.
Hmm.
It's already out.
Yeah.
When did it come out?
Like a month. Like
Was it a
like
month
when
ago?
he released it, it was already like coming out.
Oh, got it. I heard the announcement. I didn't know that it was already out.
Yeah. So that's why I have NVIDIA infrastructure. I'm like, oh crap, I need to buy a lot more of these DGXs. Yeah.
NVIDIA's just their chips are so expensive.
Yeah. So I just for two of them for myself, it cost 10 grand for and here's the crazy thing, Neil. These DGX Sparks originally they were $3,900. Now they're 4,700. So I think the pricing on these is gonna continue to go up over time.
Yes, I think they're gonna go up
Yep.
over time. I think you're gonna continually see costs
And
going up.
it's the weirdest thing to me, Neil, because when I was 9 years old, I bought an NVIDIA chip. I bought a GeForce for my computer because this was what during the internet boom and during the gaming boom. Okay, 30 years later, I find myself buying NVIDIA chips again during another boom.
Yeah.
So everything kind of comes full circle. Yeah. So
What else do we have on? Oh, the 4 levels of AI marketing. I was curious on this one. I
okay,
haven't read this one yet.
so this one is from Anthropic's single employee. Remember they had that single growth marketer. So he has mapped out the 4 levels of AI marketing use. So most people sit at level 1, automating what they already do. So level 1, Neil, automate what you already do. So reporting, copy, data pools, like using it at a pretty rudimentary level. That's level 1.
Yeah.
Level 2 is you use AI as a thinking partner where it's better than you. Okay. So you might ask about tax situations or tax laws. I might ask about those as well, right? Or I might ask about, certain implications around doing work, right? Level 3 is do work that was below the ROI threshold before. So an example of that might be performance intelligence, which I just mentioned. Like it's too much work to have to say, "Oh, Neil, what questions did you ask today? How did you work? How did you use your token say? Da 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 da." You couldn't do that before. This work is now all doable, right? A lot of these edge case scenarios you can do now. Level 4, build custom tools only you would ever build, okay? So level 3 is work that never existed before, so stuff nobody did because the manual cost was never worth it. So mining negative keywords across every ad group, checking your full site for broken links daily. Same logic applies to content research, QA, competitor monitoring, and work that existed in theory, but nobody had the hours for, which is kind of how we're using our thing for. Level 4, which we just talked about, is where the ROI compounds. So there are hundreds of AI marketing skills and plugins floating around GitHub right now. Most of them work in theory, but fall apart in practice because they are built for general use cases, not your case. Your business has specific data, specific workflows, specific edge cases that no generic tool will ever cover. The people building custom tools around their own problems are the ones pulling ahead, which is similar to what Ramp is doing with Glass. They don't want to use any off-the-shelf software. They're building it for their solution. Their single brain version is that we have our own single brain version, and then we're working on selling that. But I think every company has their own institutional AI that they need to have.
I believe you level 1, the automate what you already do, reporting, copying, data pulls, etcetera. I don't think people will be using the LLMs directly for that. I believe they're gonna start using most of the software companies for that because 'cause it'll just be cheaper and more efficient.
I think they're going to be using a lot of these Chinese models. I'll tell you that much. So the Chinese models are really good.
And they're really cost effective.
Quinn, Kimi, they're all amazing. Gemma, even from Google,
Mhm.
Gemma's amazing. You can run it on like a crap computer, and it's amazing.
Yeah, but I really do believe people are just gonna pay for the software solutions
Yeah.
because some of these software solutions are like 10, 15 bucks a month or even freemium.
Hmm.
And it's just cheaper to do that because 'cause they'll perfect it for that specific task or those marketing functions that you have,
Yeah.
and it's just easier than you having someone internally using AI to do it and maintaining it and making sure it's doing it accurately. Did you see the Alibaba news? How they're funding a real world version of AI?
No.
So Alibaba, I believe, funded 200 and something million-dollar round with a Chinese AI company where it's deciphering what's happening in real world and videos and all of that kind of stuff to make AI way more sophisticated. So instead of just text-based, it's
Yeah.
trying to analyze real world stuff based on how we interact as humans.
Yeah.
Because the way you read text is very different than how a human interacts with each other in
Yeah.
person or through video.
Yeah. Dude, this is funny. Okay. So you're talking about this, right? Like you just got me to think about how crazy people and I'm Chinese, right? So look, so people in China, they're all lining up in public for OpenClaw to learn OpenClaw. I don't see any of that happening in America. Where's that happening right now? Right?
Nah.
Like this is like embedded into our culture. It's like, oh, you're gonna make money for it? We're gonna line up for this stuff.
What's interesting is the narrative in the US is there's gonna be a lot of job cuts, AI is gonna create a lot of
AI is
displacement.
bad. It's so negative.
Yes.
Yeah.
In China, I've seen and all the articles I've read, it's actually a very positive sentiment. People don't worry about job displacement. They worry about, hey, how can I learn all this stuff and adapt so then that way I can be better for the future?
So let me give you the numbers here, Neil, because we like numbers, right? So Chinese public sentiment towards AI is significantly more optimistic and trusting compared to the US. What do you think the number is percentage wise? Optimism in China.
90+%.
Close, 80%.
Okay.
That's like having pocket aces. Okay. You're like
Yeah,
you're
it's
good,
great.
right? Now, what do you think it is in the US?
10%.
35%. 35.
Okay.
Because look, you and I are pretty I think Noah's pretty optimistic about it too. I am optimistic about it. I'm like short-term doomer, long-term optimistic, right? Which is like it's a lot of it's politicized here. It shouldn't be politicized. This is like intelligence in your hands.
Wait, Noah, this just made me think. You have a business where you pay people to help you create content. Why don't you just use AI
How
and
could
have
you not
AI
have thought about this already?
and AI just create the content? No, no, for him, for his
I
business.
know, but how could this is obvious to me like in the beginning.
Yeah, but he's not doing it.
The difference is that the customers don't want that.
They don't want AI.
Really?
I would have to get a whole new set of customers.
See, this is like our customers that want manual content only. Human generated content. Human generated content.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's a future path, but it's
I think it depends on the user because there are customers, there's a .ai for that with the word, okay? And they do well, right? Yeah, I think it depends, Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. We work with a lot of companies and even my own company, I don't want AI content for my own business.
Dude, look at this. And then I'm gonna move over to the next thing. So look, they're literally in the park. Okay, you have people in China in the park. They're all like huddled over like these laptops. People are on their phones. They're all trying to learn OpenClaw. I bet you this is during the weekend too. How do you beat this?
Society-wise, it's really tough.
Uh, they're just they're
Majority of
all
the
hungry.
people here
Yeah.
that I've met are not that hungry, sadly.
I bet you they're like this in India too. Your people.
Yeah.
Real quick, if acquiring customers has been a struggle for you and you are trying to figure out how AEO works, answer engine optimization, or the new version of SEO, how paid works, how all this AI stuff is going to play into your customer acquisition strategy, then check out my ad agency, Single Grain. It's singlegrain.com. And if it looks like it's a good fit, we'll help you with a free marketing plan. So again, go to singlegrain.com and we'll see you on the other side. Anyway, okay, so check this out. So the Anthropic person just mentioned GitHub repos, okay? So I did this for fun, Neil. I went to my OpenClaw. I was like, hey, look, all the cool stuff that we do from like an AI marketing standpoint, can you just make me a repo? So I threw up this GitHub repo over here. It's called AI Marketing Skills. If you go to singlegrain.com/skills, it's free, completely free. I have 1,700 stars on it. I didn't even know what that means before, right? 1,700 stars, and I have all these. I have like an Elon Musk skill where it helps you question, delete, simplify, speed up, automate things. I have a deal revival thing. It's all the things that I use, and I just put it out there. I even have the finance skill that saved me 500 grand in here. It's all in here. So I think this is a nice way to market because this drove leads too. Because what I do at the end of them is there's like a call to action for like single grain and all the things that we have down here, right? You can collect emails if you want. I'm not gonna go that far, but I do constantly remind people, hey, there's an updated version. Can you give us feedback on it, whatever, and we can
Yeah.
see what people are using. But I think we're gonna see a lot more of this GitHub marketing.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a ton more of this. And if you look at GitHub, it's an amazing place to go to get access to what companies are doing internally, because a lot of them will share it. The the interesting thing was it Claude or someone? One of the companies had a lot of their stuff on their that was released on a GitHub or something like that, and it was
Oh yeah,
made
yeah, yeah.
public,
Yeah,
and they didn't want to.
their code. I thought that was a joke. I thought that was an April Fool's joke. That's what people said.
I didn't know if it was April Fool's joke or not.
But they did I did see them make someone else take their repo down. So you get DMCA takedown requests in GitHub. They take down things really quickly. They're owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, I think it's just you're gonna have agentic marketing, you're gonna have hyper personalized marketing as hyper personalized ads. You're gonna have GitHub marketing. All the tools we're probably gonna give a lot of it away for free and get identify PQLs and then just have agents that sell them. Dude, I use this thing called Bordy. Have you heard of Bordy.ai? I
Uh-uh.
didn't tell you about this.
No.
Okay, so do this later. Okay, so I go to Bordy.ai, and what it does is it'll connect you with like uh potential recruits or investors or co-founders. It's like one of those startup like networking things, okay?
Yeah.
So I get on a discovery call with the AI just to see how good it is. Phenomenal. I'm like end to end. It was like a 20 to 25-minute call. It handled everything. And literally, it's putting me in touch with like potential recruits as well. And it's showing me all their LinkedIn's and it's doing a really good job of it. And so again, if you want to use it for networking or anything, I think this is a new way of like building your network with LinkedIn because that network's just gonna get stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
But more than anything, that discovery call, because we have these voice agents right now that we used building Google Live 3.1. And I'm just like, dude, if these voice agents are that good already with a complex discovery call, sky's the limit.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you using any voice agents yet?
Our team does. I don't.
Yeah.
I just I don't like the voice agents.
Try it later. Try it I didn't expect it to be this good. I'm like,
I haven't found anyone that's good. The problem I'm seeing right now with all this stuff, and we're talking a little bit about it, dude, every company I go to, they're using so many of these AI tools, it's starting to create inefficiencies in their
I'm gonna
organization,
send you this.
especially in marketing.
I want you to try this later.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Yeah.
But it's like people are trying so many tools, they're forgetting about what's actually driving ROI and growth. And I would recommend to anyone listening, you should not avoid testing out AI. You don't want to be spending all day using tools and instead of focusing on what is driving you your ROI and letting your eye off the ball. Because if you've been in business for a while and you know your paid ads or certain things are driving certain amounts of revenue for you, the last thing you want to do is let your foot off the ball or let your eyes off the ball and focus on what's cool and sexy. And a great example of this is I was with a company that generates around 43% of their revenue, 44% of their new revenue from affiliates. And they're telling me about all these cool AI tools that they're using and testing internally. And I was just like, okay, you make a lot of revenue through AI affiliates, right? They're like, yeah. how long have you been doing affiliate marketing for? They're like, 2 years now. I was like, oh, cool. How many people do you have internally that are managing your affiliate team? They're like, just two. This is a big organization. I was like, instead of using all these cool AI tools like for voice or content creation or whatnot, why don't you focus on using AI tools to help you scale out your affiliate program from more creatives to more outreach to, following up, maintaining relationships. AI tools are great, but if you're using them on the wrong stuff, it's just like you're just going to end up wasting time. And that's what I see too many companies doing.
Hmm.
They're not using the technology for the crap that's driving them a ROI. They're using it for all this cool stuff that everyone's talking about instead of just focusing on the boring and ugly and just scaling it up more.
So we call that AI theater, right? Or AI compliance theater. This is something we say. We say, guys, everything that you're building right now, it has to tie in with the solving problems for your customers, because we're a customer. We are a problem solving machine. That's what we do. We're supposed to help our customers. So you can't build like a dashboard or whatever, and then that's theater, right? And so even when we think about like something like a Bordy, for example, we think about our speed to lead when it comes to how quickly we get back to our customers, or even missed opportunities we have for people visiting our website, like PQLs that we identify. So for us, this drives pipeline, which ties in with revenue. I will say in the beginning, maybe even 2-3 years ago, like when all the new stuff was coming out, there's a lot of theater. I'm just testing everything. I think it's really important to, like, as you're doing this too, I literally have a skill in my open cloud that says, hey, this isn't tied to your goals right now. This isn't going to help you make more money. This doesn't achieve the 4-to-1 ROI for all the things that you want to do. And so it'll push back on me, which is good.
No,
So
that's
you
great.
have to know how you work too. And like when you work with it more, by the way, I had to make a sheet for like how I work exactly. You should make one and then have it help you based on your strengths and your weaknesses.
For most of my stuff is phone calls and meetings and closing deals.
Maybe different for you, but like
Yeah.
for me, I'm in this all the time. So it just depends. Like for you, you might need one of those like little open AI, like
The
those
pins, you
that
remember the
listen to you the
pin?
whole time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that
I
because
don't either because
if
it's
someone sees,
privacy.
yeah, if someone sees it, they're like, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I was in a meeting with someone, this was months ago, and they were wearing that. I'm like, what is that? They're like, oh, this is AI. It helps me record everything. And then I'm like,
Like that's not cool. Like you didn't even ask me.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like, this is awkward.
yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's just really cool. I just use it for internal purposes. They're like, it just helps me keep track of it. I'm like, ah,
But it's not a normal conversation anymore.
no, it's not a normal conversation. Dude, what I said in the conversation, I don't say anything like gross or graphic
No,
or inappropriate.
no.
So I don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. But even when I'm talking about business, I'm not gonna, break contracts and talk about stuff that I'm not supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
It's just more so when someone's recording you,
Hmm.
it just feels awkward.
Yep.
And you don't know how they're gonna use it or abuse it or what
Hmm.
they're gonna do with
Maybe they'll
it.
come against you in the future,
Not
right?
just come against
Yeah.
you. Maybe they just start taking your voice and
Yep.
then trying to say, oh, look, Neil said this, and they just clip one little portion of
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and it's taken out of context, and then it just makes you look bad. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be
I
recorded
think
all the
there's a
time.
line, there's a fine line with all these things. And I hope a lot of people aren't wearing those things because that would, I don't know, it would, I want to say amplify. It would make the conversations a lot more, I don't know, dull. So,
I have the same problem with the Meta glasses.
mhm.
I now notice so many more people wearing the Meta glasses with the two cameras
Yeah.
on each side,
Yeah.
and I'm really careful when I talk around them.
So I was using the Meta glasses. The only time I use my Meta glasses, I was using it this morning. I was playing tennis with Yaniv, right? I only use it as my tennis coach, and then I drag the file into Gemini. I said, "You're the world's best tennis coach. What can I do better?" That's the only reason I use it for. Only time I use it.
But
Yeah.
but that makes sense. But when I'm having a conversation with people,
Yeah.
I don't like when people are wearing Meta glasses. That's just me. Maybe
Can
other
you
people
tell
are.
that they're wearing it? Because
Yeah,
they're
you can tell.
thicker. Yeah.
Thicker, and then you have the camera, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like that. Um,
uh-huh.
okay. So we have a few more to cover over here. I don't have any of the. I still have some of the classics up here. Let's pick some of the classics up here. You pick one.
All right, let's see. This podcast charges 4.7 million per mid-roll. I'm curious on this. What's
Okay.
the ROI for $4.7 million?
So this guy Evan Armstrong tweets this. Everyone talks about TBPM making 20 million on ads, and then they just sold to OpenAI for 200 million. But no one talks about how Acquired FM is pricing their mid-roll at $4.7 million. So here's Acquired is they're like a, let's just say like a business show. Okay, they talk about businesses. So check this out, Neil. Spring 2026, 4 episodes already sold out. Fall sold out. Spring 2027 sold out. It's like all of this sold out. So if you go all the way to fall 2029 season, Mid-roll is $4.7 million. So if you go to spring 2028, it's 2.9. Presenting is already sold out. So the presenting sponsorship, by the way, is $5.6 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think they're getting these conversions because I think people are I was stupid on this. I'm not gonna say we were stupid. I was stupid on this because I was already listening to these things like Founders Acquired and all that. I should have just paid for all of the ads in the very beginning because anybody listening to this is smart, they're entrepreneurial, and they're probably decision makers. Like Jeff Bezos listens to the Founders podcast,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, they have an amazing audience.
yeah.
And they also have an event.
Acquired?
Yeah.
Yeah, Acquired has an event, but Founders is a different one. Founders is David Senra. He has a Founders podcast, and now he has it's called David Senra podcast, and he's had Michael Dell on it, James Dyson from it. He's had Mark Andreessen and all these people. So why does it get these people? Because these people are learning machines.
Yeah, from my understanding, Acquired is much larger than what's the other one called with the 4 besties? All In.
All in?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Acquired is quite a
I
bit
don't.
bigger.
You know the thing is, I don't listen to Acquired that much. I listen to All In a lot. I listen to Founders.
I'm the opposite. I listen to Acquired more.
You do? Did you listen to the Costco episode?
No.
I heard that one was one of the best ones.
I should check it out.
You should check it out. Yeah. So just so everyone knows, Acquired, they like to go, they like to do these deep dives on companies, and there's a lot to learn from these. Like the Google one was really good.
Yes.
Microsoft was really good too.
The reason I like the Acquired podcast is, for me, it's not really news. Like, there's nothing wrong with the All In podcast, but it's not like I'm listening to something on the All In podcast. I'm like, okay, this is gonna help me grow my business.
Yeah.
Acquired, I actually feel I can listen, learn something, and then go and execute on that.
So this is worth talking about, I think, for a moment, and then I can pick one of the classics. So I like Acquired for that reason because it's historical context.
Yes.
The Costco ones, like how did Costco start? Oh, actually, it turns out he was the protege of like Sam Walton's company. So he was part of Walmart before, and then they had Price Club, right? And Price Club, I think, is part of Walmart as well. I think.
I think Price Club is part of
Or
Costco.
Sam's Club. Sorry, Sam's Club. Price Club is a different one, but Sam's Club is part of Walmart.
No, Price Club is Costco. I
Yeah.
just Googled it.
But no, I was saying Sam's Club is Walmart.
Oh, I thought you were saying Price
No,
Club.
I did. I
eventually-
was wrong in the beginning,
Oh,
but
okay.
I corrected it. So, but my point is, you learn so much, like how hard it was to start Walmart initially, and then this guy, the way Costco started, like he wasn't an entrepreneur before. He actually worked for Walmart, and he kind of rose up the ranks, and then eventually they're like, hey, let's go start this thing, and then this Costco took off. But my point of saying all this is that you learn from the nuggets, and through these stories, you figure out what you want to take and then what you should do, which is why I've liked these EO and YPO groups, because you learn from other people's stories, and then maybe you get some insights. Sometimes the stories suck from people, so then, questionable. But then Founders, same thing too. You get to hear from, hey, I made this mistake over here. Here's what I would do. And then you start to see the same patterns over and over, and you're just like, I'm just going to keep repeating those patterns. Be curious and just do it for a long time, right? And that you should do that over and over.
Are you going to renew your YPO membership? I'll take that as a no.
I've been thinking about that. So, like, I will say one thing though, Neil. I promised to not do any more YPO events after I did the YPO Global Marketing Summit. I'm like, I'm not doing any more. I committed myself to doing
Again?
the YPO Global AI Summit in Istanbul. So, and I shouldn't have a problem like doing that one. But like that's just me wanting to give back and provide back. But yeah, I don't know is the answer.
Yeah, I dropped out of YPO a long time ago.
You'll be back when you're older.
It depends who's in there.
You'll be back when you're in the higher, the gold group.
What do I have to be? 55 or
You have to
50?
be 50, but they're decreasing the age.
Are
They're
they?
bringing the age down. Yeah,
To
yeah.
45?
Uh-huh.
I'm still 5 years away from 45. Technically, roughly 4.
Your birthday's coming up
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Roughly 4.
in 13 days.
Yeah.
I only know that now because you ate the gelato during during the event.
So, but yeah, no. But yeah, I've always found those groups, the best groups I've ever been part of are ones you don't pay.
Mhm.
And they tell you what they're doing from a marketing aspect or a business aspect, but the ones that you have to end up paying, you get shoved with a lot of random people versus when you do your own thing, you can pick and choose, and it's just better.
So here's what I'll say, Neil, and then we can move on to the next thing. So, the group I've been in with like Sayed and Yaniv, for example, we've had that since 2018. I've invited you before, right? But like we don't pay for that, right? We organize it ourselves, and that's like a group I can see myself growing old with.
Yes.
Now, so there's that group, and like we have fun, we play basketball, we share stuff on business. That's great. Now, then with YPO, I actually formed another group recently, and this one's like all business, and we like I created this group myself, and then we formed it. I did it with Syed as well, and we're just like we just want to talk about business. We don't want to meet all the time, okay? And we don't want to. We're not going to party either. And this is what it is. Now, to your point, when I think about my EO group, which I was with for 7 years, entrepreneurs organization, this group like I grew together with, and we were like brothers from the beginning. Okay. Now, some other groups I've been with, I was kind of shoved in and it was a brand new group and like all they like to do was party, which is okay, just not for me. So to your point, like that does happen, but you just have to be very picky about the group that you're in. I think once you join this gold group in YPO, like you're gonna be like, it's good. Because it does feel like you're learning from people that are either at your level or probably a few steps ahead of you.
Yeah, no, the YPO Gold group that I want to join, there's quite a few people in there that are much more than a few steps ahead of me. They're much more older in their career. They have grandkids and they're ready to
Yeah.
retire.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of stories, kind of like Costco, because there's some of the ones that are in the LA chapter. Some of them are like some of the richest people in the world.
Yeah.
And it would be great to learn how they went from starting to growing and all the lessons they learned. Like that kind of stuff is valuable. That's why I like the Acquired podcast.
And honestly, when you talk to people like that, the way they look at business, it's like a game. They feel like they're playing a
Yes.
game, and they feel like they're like living life, right? Whereas in some cases, when I talk to some people in like in these groups, right, they are business is like an afterthought. They're like, why do you talk about business so much, right? And that doesn't make sense to me because business is so fun. So anyway, let's pick one more here. So I got one. Um,
I think this is our last one.
yeah, this is our last one. So let's pick this one over here. One of the old ones over here. Why don't we just talk about because we talk about how you shouldn't overuse tools. Why don't we just talk about our like our favorite our best AI tools? We'll do seven. I'll start first. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So these are seven AI tools that are going to help you grow faster. Okay. Number one on my end that I just started using is actually the one I talked about, Bordy.ai. The reason I like Bordy.ai is first time I've heard an end-to-end discovery call where I'm like, whoa, I can handle this. This can be good for customer service. This can be good for handling all of our calls that we can't, maybe tier 4, tier 3 leads that we just can't take. And we can also get to leads faster. If they don't want to wait to talk to a human, they can just talk to this right now. And it's great for networking too, because you can find people, maybe you're looking for like a CMO or something like that. It will pair you up with exactly the people that you're looking for. And if you're looking for investors, co-founders, whatever, it's basically got this whole, it's like an AI networking tool. So I'll go with Bordy.ai first.
My number two for
Uh-huh.
me would be fin.ai. I went to the wrong Fin website. Don't go to fin.com, go to fin.ai. We've been using it for a while. It's really good. It saves you money. It helps you scale faster. It creates happier customers. You get more positive reviews, which then helps your GEO and SEO. But check it out because you're always going to get people who are asking questions. Fin just helps make not only the responses faster, but more consistent. And you pair it up with a human.
Cool. Number three is Hermes. So Hermes is another agent that's similar to OpenClaw, but you pair Hermes with OpenClaw, so you have two agents working together. Hermes can check the work of OpenClaw and vice versa, and it just allows you to move a lot faster.
Number four, we still use it a lot, Nano Banana. We think it's great. It's amazing on the creative side. I think a lot of people take it for granted, but we've seen massive ROI with campaigns using it. And just keep this in mind, the real leverage in paid advertising is creative.
Number five is Paperclip. So Paperclip, I just mentioned OpenClaw and Hermes, but you need something to manage all of your agents and manage all your work because it's easy for me to work on something. I go watch TV and I forget what I'm working on. Maybe I want to come back and work on it 2, 3 days later. So Paperclip allows you to manage all your agents and make it a lot easier.
Number six, High Level has an AI software that's similar to Lovable, and it helps a lot with like things like landing pages. We find that it works quite a bit better than Lovable, especially if you're trying to improve your conversion rate.
Yeah. So number seven, I'll go something that's surprisingly Manus is really good. So I was trying to figure out like flight situations or I even had to go through our CRM and just say who should we follow up with again and just did all the work. So it's like if you don't want to go into OpenClaw, you want an introduction to OpenClaw, just use Manus. Meta owns them as well. And the product's continually getting better. Or you can use Manus, you can use GenSpark. Those are both cool. I look at both of these as introduction to OpenClaw. If you want to secure version of OpenClaw, use NemoClaw, which is what we deploy for our clients right now. So that is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.